All right, you guys, today to introduce a new concept, I thought I'd sit on the front porch. We've all heard a verb like run. So if I said, let's go, how would I change the word run to say, let's go running? Right, let's go running. Have you ever noticed that sometimes it's not just run and then the ing is stuck on the end? It's like changes somehow. Okay, we're gonna talk about that concept today. If you already know the concept, that's awesome. Some of you don't know it yet, so we're gonna talk about that. So this is dealing with ing, ing, when it is not part of a base word. So if you have a word like sing, right, without ing, it would just be s, which doesn't really convey, would you like to sing, right? So it's important to know it's when it's not part of a base word, when you're changing a verb. Okay, the 1-1-1 rule is if there's one syllable, one vowel, and one consonant, that's when we're gonna know that we can double our ending consonant. So let me give you an example. If we look back at float, look at float. Is float one syllable? Let's start with that. Float, yeah, one syllable. Does it only have one vowel? No, it's got this vowel team. Oh, the old boat. It's totally got that vowel team, so it's not going to qualify. Let's look at another example, bonk. Okay, does it have one syllable? Bonk, yep, it's got one syllable. Does it have one vowel? Yep, it totally has one vowel. Now, it also has to have one consonant. Does it have one consonant? No, it's got two, an N and a K. All right, let's look at this word dig. Does it have one syllable? Dig, yep. Does it have one vowel? Yep, only one vowel, the I. Does it have one consonant? Yes, a G. Then, with any suffix at all, but especially, we're just studying ing today, so we're just looking at this, but the 1-1-1 rule is like, if you're a mathematician, you probably don't want to remember it this way. All right, so here it is. 1 + 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, I know. You get to double it, double the last consonant. So dig becomes digging with 2 G's. Now let's examine that a little bit more and figure out why we can't just like add ing. If we don't add a consonant, we have a few different problems. What do you know about how to syllabicate words? How to break them up? Yes, after this first vowel or vowel, if there was a vowel team, you would then draw a line, and so that would become the first syllable, right? And so then now your word is die. You might still say ging, or you might say gang, die, gang. Okay, when you hear that, it doesn't sound at all like you would. It doesn't sound at all like you would expect it to say, because you hear dig, digging. We need to write it the way we sound it as much as possible, right? So when you see two consonants together, you know to break it up there. So now it says digging, digging. Nice. Here's our next rule. Drop the E. If you've got a verb that you're trying to change into with the ing form and it ends with an E, drop it. I'll show you why. All right, here's our example word. If you have bake, and if you're not going to drop the E and you add ing, what do we know about breaking up words into syllables? That's right. After the first vowel, we have to break it up into its syllable there. And then with this E and this I together, we might think that's a vowel team. And so we might say baking. No, it would be baking, right? It doesn't really make sense. So when we drop the E, we can read it quickly, and that helps us determine that it's really baking. simple type. And so you have a word like float. How would you say that? Right, floating. So when it's just the simplest form, we just add the ing, so it's floating, right? Another word that is that we simply just add the ing is for the verb bonk. Don't bonk me on the head. I'm bonking you. Bonking. Whoa. Then we've got like mold. If there's mold around the house, you might say my cheese is molding. So that's just the 3 simple forms are to just add ing. Okay, here's a word for us to do together. What's this word? Yeah, rip or ip. Now, what if we need to ing it? We're going to be ripping the paper. Instead of we ripped it, we're going to rip it. No, we are ripping the paper. So what is our rule? First of all, let's see if we could just try it for simple. Ripping. Nope, because then it changes it and then it's riping. Nope. What about dropping the E? It doesn't have an E. That's right, that's a totally different word. And then what about double? Remember, we need to look at, does it have one syllable? Yes. Does it have one vowel? Yes. Does it have one consonant? Yes. So we need to double the P and then add ing. Ripping. Ripping. Let's try another one. All right, what about choke? Choke. We've got our 2-letter ch phonogram. Our E's got a very important job right there. Yeah. Well, let's see if it's simple. Choking. All right, so is that a 2-letter phonogram all of a sudden? Right, we know we need to split it here. Well, we know EI isn't very common, so we might split it here, and then it's cho-ki-ing. Now, that is exactly why we need to drop our E. If it ends in an E, most likely, we're dropping the E and adding ing. Very good. Drop that E. Nice. All right, now take a look at your own worksheet. You can make a little cheat sheet like I made on a card, and it has the ing. And remember, it cannot be part of a base word like sing, because this is when we're dealing with suffixes. So you've got 2 important things to remember. If it's got an E in it, you're going to want to drop the E. If it's got 1 syllable, 1 vowel, and 1 consonant, 1 + 1 + 1 = 2. We're going to double that last consonant before we add the ing. Here's the exception. We accept if it's a W, an X, or a Y, like toe and towing. So instead of X, Y, or W. If you're online today and working remotely, I want you to do the first about like 5 or 10 and then email me the answers. Let's make sure you're on track before you finish all of those for practice. If you are in the classroom, please raise your hand if you have any questions, and I'll just come around and look over your shoulder. All right, thank you.